I waited over a month for Lowe's to have their sale, and I ended up buying all my soil not for sale because Lowe's sucks. Anyway, it's time to fill the raised beds. I ended up buying this organic compost. I don't care that it's organic, but it was cheaper than the soil, so I figured the bottom of it could be that compost and the top can be the Lowe's brand of Miracle Grow garden soil. Here it is all laid out as we thought we would fill them. My old friend Sarah came over to camp because the state parks were all booked up, and naturally I put her to work. We ended up using 3 bags of compost and 2 bags of garden soil per bed, and I had plenty left over, so what did I do? Build some more beds. After all that, we got a little goat baby massage and had some backstrap and baked potatoes. And continuing with the zip line work, we made some ship sliders to get onto the platforms to the zip line. Haven't quite finished with the paint, but this is deck paint that makes it a little gritty so you won't slip.
You ready?
Yep, it's ready.
One of our neighbor's calves was really small and skinny, so we suspected that she wouldn't get any milk. So I watched her and tried to help her while our neighbor was out of town. Her teats and udder were really hard, so we suspect mastitis. Several times I tried to feed this baby from a bottle, and it just wasn't strong enough to have a sucking reflex. A couple guys from the feed store were nice enough to come and tube this baby for us since none of us had done it before. This tube eliminates the need for her to drink herself and just puts the milk directly in her stomach. She ended up getting that entire bottle, but now she will have to be bottle fed, so I have the morning shifts. She had to have gotten something initially because she would have died without colostrum within the first 24 hours or so. I didn't mind bottle feeding her at all, and our neighbor has someone else that lives local who feeds her in the evening time. At first we did kind of have to pin her and force it into her mouth, and then she would start drinking afterwards. Now she just takes the bottle without being asked. That same day, the cows at the mesquite lease had gotten out and into someone else's pasture. And since they were already trailered, we brought Peppermint Patty back. And I was able to buy Frida, my favorite little heifer over at the mesquite. The first time the mesquite cows escaped, I wasn't there. I was taking care of that calf and feeding our animals. Derek was there, but they were too busy to video. So I'll just tell you, this is the mesquite property. and this property is bordered by the lake we live near. The lake is about 1.5 feet low right now, and the cows just walked across to someone else's property. They spent hours trying to get all these cows corralled and on the trailer, and right now it's spring, so they're eating that fresh grass and they get the runs, and it was everywhere. But anyway, the next day after catching them, they did the same thing. So Floyd decided he was going to sell all of these cows and buy them back later. This is his son and Derek trying to corral them back on the trailers. There were 6 of us there to help, but Derek and Eric, Floyd's son, actually did most of the work. That bull went in real easy, but apparently Floyd threatened him with making him into hamburgers several times the time before. It is time for the babies to get their CD&T shot. Basically, it's a clostridial disease prevention with tetanus in it, and we hate giving it to babies, but we have to. You'll notice the little scars on the top of his head. We do have the horns removed by a vet. You have to if they're registered, because you cannot show a goat with horns. Also, it's just good practice for goats. They can get caught in fences and hurt other goats when they're fighting. Another thing that's common with young animals is coccidiosis. It's something, if they get a slight case of it, they can build up a resistance to it fairly quickly. And if they can't seem to shake it on their own, we have Corid we put in their water. It's just a treatment for coccidiosis. It's not really that big of a deal, but we are trying to make sure they get over it before they go to their new homes, because all these baby goats, minus Charlotte, have new homes. And by the way, if you'll notice, there's no needle on the end of that syringe. All of them get loves afterwards, but I just wanted to show a few things in this video about how it's not all fun and games. And they aren't mad at us too long. And we're back to work, extending the pig pen to make 3 different stalls for eventually the girls to have their babies and Hagrid to be by himself. Notice the size comparison. That's Hagrid, the black one, and then Dolores and her pregnant belly. And Gwendolyn, who is a little bit bigger than Dolores anyway, but she looks less pregnant. Hagrid has pretty much caught up to size with them and will only get bigger than them, but of course he's not pregnant. And we're back to cutting more cedar. I found some things on Pinterest and I decided to make my garden gate out of cedar sticks. It reminds me of the sticks I used to collect with Karen on Tri-C retreats. The post for the gate hinge was a little too thick, so we had to make it thinner. The cattle panel behind it makes sure that it's still cow-proof and it gives it extra strength. And I'm going to continue to work on that arbor over the gate. Our neighbor gave us a flow hive, and we're going to try to use it on this swarm right here. When a hive gets too big, they'll swarm in the spring. Some of the bees stay behind with the old queen, and some of them swarm with the new queen to find a new home and start their own hive. Hopefully we end up catching this swarm, because we lost 6 hives last year.